Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. Bitcoin recovering a little bit, nothing major really. Cardano recovering a little bit as well, but still in the last 24 hours in the red, while Bitcoin is getting into the green. But you know, if you just look simply at this chart here from CoinMarketCap, you can just see it's pretty much just sideways movement. It's within the daily volatility here. Nothing too crazy happening here at the moment, still below 40k for Bitcoin. As you can see here on the Bitcoin chart, this is the 8-hour chart. Bitcoin is still in this range here between 34.5k and 45.5k. Anything that happens within this range is pretty much, you know, nothing that is worth paying too much attention to, because it does not change any scenario. The lower we go, obviously, the closer we get to my primary scenario, where we will get into the area below 29,000 US dollars. That is my target area that we've been talking about since November, where at 27.5k you can find a 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. That would be the area where I think we could get to with the highest likelihood. But I can't really define it closer, because we need to see how the price will go into that target area. And at 20k down here, we've got some other indicators which suggest there could be important support. For example, the 200-week moving average here. So this is what makes up this target area. And also the assumption that we are coming down here in a wave 2 after Bitcoin's large wave 1 back in early 21. And since then we have basically been in a correction. And the all-time high in November is part of that overall correction. All right, so this is where we are. Currently maybe here in the last leg of that correction down. Primarily I expect the sell-off straight away, and I do that until we are really breaking above 46.5k. If you break above 46.5k, I've said that various times, what we then do, we could then get into a new uptrend, a temporary uptrend, nothing that would be, in my opinion, leading us to new all-time highs, but it would be a temporary uptrend that could get exhausted at the area between 55 and 65k, and would then turn around and come into my main target area here. But only that would only go live above 46.5k, and therefore I told you that if we really break above 46.5k and do something like that here, break above this, do a retest, that's probably when I would enter a long position, and then would take profits at 55k. That is one important fib level here. At 61k, there's one important fib level here, and then at 65k. So that is how I would do it. Until that's the case, however, that is all just speculation, and I have to assume that we're going down straight away. In the end, Bitcoin is still below the 50-day moving average here in orange. You can see that, even though Bitcoin did not really respect the 50-day moving average a lot here in the last few weeks. Well, most of the time it has been below the 50-day moving average. There was a fake out here, fake out here, fake out here end of February, and since then we have been below the 50-day moving average. So it's actually pushing the price down a little. You can see that even at the moment the price is below the 50-day moving average. That is currently at 40k. And at the moment we are building here something like a head and shoulders pattern. We talked about it in the previous videos. But to do that, we need here another leg down now that could then in the next instance push down to around 37.5k. That would then hit the neckline, and we could break to the downside here and already hit very fast the target area between 20 and 29k. But bear in mind, we're currently still in sideways movement, in sideways consolidation. It is also a direction in the financial markets. It doesn't always go up and down. No, you can also just move sideways, and unfortunately it's sometimes creating these boring phases where not much seems to be happening. And luckily Bitcoin is still a fairly young asset, because the younger assets are, the shorter sideways consolidations typically are. So hopefully it won't take too much longer, and we can clearly get to a decision here. The key support here at the moment is at 30, as I said, 37.5. Then we've got one at 34.5 and 33k. And you know, these sideways moves, they get more common the older an asset gets. As I said, Bitcoin luckily still fairly young, so hopefully that shouldn't take too much longer. But unfortunately we have to live with these sideways consolidations. They just happen. And however, generally compared to some tech stocks, for example, Bitcoin is holding fairly well. But even though my primary expectation is this sell-off straight away, bear in mind that the alternative that I mentioned, the breakout above 46.5k with some temporary upside, is not off the table. This is still very much live, still very much realistic, and could actually come into play if the S&P 500 starts to move up. I did share my S&P 500 analysis with the channel Gold members a few days ago, and also today in the Telegram live chat. And I would assume here that it might have bottomed out for now. So if I draw here the Fips, and it's just really briefly on the S&P 500, because Bitcoin did follow the S&P 500 quite closely recently. The S&P 500 also here came down to the 88.7% Fib level recently. That is where I did expect some support. I put on the chart here this $4,100 level. If that level gets broken, the S&P 500 will unlock lower prices. Until that's the case, I have to primarily expect that we are finding a low here, and that we could now move up in the next few weeks to higher levels, and that could give, and we see that today actually, that and yesterday, that could give Bitcoin a little bit of a push to the upside. So that move down here from 4,400 that started from the 3rd of March all the way down to the 8th of March here at 4,140, that obviously did drag down Bitcoin as well apparently. And if we now turn around and move up here, that could give Bitcoin temporary upside. If it is enough upside to break above that 46.5k level, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We need to see. Could be. And in that scenario, then we would actually break to the upside, and we could get to this 55k or 65k level even. But again, we need to see how the price reacts to each of these resistance levels. And I would then, if I did that, if I opened a long position here, I would take profits along the way, because I am quite confident that Bitcoin would not reach new all-time highs from here. But then saying, right, if the S&P 500 moves up, Bitcoin moves up, you can't really do that analysis in a serious way, because it's just speculating. You don't, while they sort of moved together recently, it doesn't mean it always has to happen, and it's best to analyze just individual charts. But it's just for information really, because it can give you an idea of the bigger picture. So Cardano also with Bitcoin recovering a little bit here above 80 cents again, but nothing too crazy. Still seems like that Cardano is just retesting this former support level of that head and shoulders from below. Hasn't even reached it yet. That level would be at 82 cents, yeah, 83 cents. Cardano still at 81. Really nothing too convincing here currently coming up, and I would expect primarily for Cardano, looking just at the chart, also lower prices until that 83 cent level would get broken. Yeah, and it's not a fake out. We had a fake out here on the 7th of March. But if that price could be broken, or that level could be broken, and if there is no retest basically, or a retest from above which would flip it as support, then we can be confident that we could move maybe to here 87 cent, that previous high again, then in the next step 92 cents, and maybe even $1.02, which is that resistance that we had before, and support. Until then, until we really move above this previous neckline of that head and shoulders pattern, I would assume that we have to come lower, because we are only making lower lows at the moment, lower highs, and we can then in the next instance step down to 75 cents before we then break below that, and hopefully move to that target area starting at 55 cents, where Cardano will have a really good chance to reverse and start a new uptrend that could take it to at least $4.50, probably, however, even higher. Yeah, that's my view here on Bitcoin and Cardano. Hopefully informative. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then check out the channel membership, where you can get access to the live chat on Telegram, the Discord server with a lot of additional content, and also a weekly live stream. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.